On the agenda tonight, we're going back to 1965. We're going to be taking a look at Freddie and the Dreamers, and they're going to be performing I'm Telling You Now. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, this is a band that I hadn't have heard of before, but I did know this song, and it's because it was very popular here in the UK, and they're a very popular band here in the UK. I'm not sure it was quite the same over in the USA, but anyway, we will jump into this performance and see how Freddie and the Dreamers get on.
The dance is the Freddie, and here to sing their million-selling hit, I'm Telling You Now, is the group Freddie and the Dreamers.
I'm telling you now, I'm telling you right away, I'll be saying for many a day, I'm in love with you now. I'm telling you now, I'll say what you wanna hear, I'll be saying for many a year, I'm in love with you now. Do you think I'm fooling when I say I love you? Maybe you'll believe me when I'm finally through. I'm telling you now, I know it's been said before, say you love me and I will be sure I'm in love with you now. I'm telling you now, I'm telling you right away, I'll be saying for many a day, I'm in love with you now. Do you think I'm fooling when I say I love you? I love you. Maybe you'll believe me when I'm finally through. I'm telling you now, I know it's been said before, say you love me and I will be sure I'm in love with you now. I'm in love with you now. I'm telling you now.
And there we have it. So I did isolate the vocal, put it through the pitch monitoring software, as you can see, so that we can have an element of vocal analysis going on. But the thing about Freddie and the Dreamers, and Freddie specifically, is that everything is going along as you would expect a performance to back in the mid-60s. And I mean, these guys, I think, formed in the early 60s, maybe 1963, if I remember correctly from what I was reading earlier on. But it means that the choreography and all this kind of stuff is still a relatively new thing at this time. So with the rest of the band kicking their legs out and Freddie doing that, you think, well, yeah, there's a bit of choreography going on. But then it's when Freddie just starts that, and this is just part of the performance and part of what Freddie did, is it just go a little bit crazy for a while. And I've seen them do this on other performances, actually, arguably even more than he's doing here, in more of a wild way. But here he's then kind of pretending to shave his face and all that kind of stuff with a microphone. So it's definitely, I would say, the most outrageous thing that I've seen in a live performance from the 60s, because when we're thinking back to showmanship, and especially over in the USA with Elvis Presley in the 50s and then late 50s, you know, showmanship was one of those things that was starting to come along, and obviously Elvis was one of those that really pushed the boundaries of that, where he would have so much body movement going on that the way that he did it was different, because he would do it in a way that, obviously it was Elvis Presley, so he was understated and cool and had this kind of persona and confidence to him that obviously hit a chord with the female audience. But in Freddie's case, it just seems like he goes a bit crazy for about 10 or 15 seconds. So it definitely stands out. Another thing to throw in here is that this kind of live performance is impossible to fake, because if he's trying to mime the laughing and the craziness in the middle of the song, he'd have to get that exactly right. But you can tell that he's just doing it, and it's just spontaneous. Obviously, it's something that he was going to do from the beginning of the performance, but in terms of the timing of it, you can't fake this with a backing track. But let's listen to just the isolated vocal.
I'm telling you now, I'm telling you right away, I'll be staying for many a day, I'm in love with you now. I'm telling you now, I'll say what you wanna hear, I'll be staying for many a year, I'm in love with you now.
And I'm just going to stop it there, because this really was just a sign of the times back in the 60s, that even when you've got a performance that's a little bit outrageous and pushing the boundaries from that, spectacle side of just doing something totally different, the voice is still absolutely spot on pitch. He's got vibrato, he's got control. The band are spot on with their playing. And in other songs that they did, they supplied harmony vocals so they could all sing as well. And you can actually see microphones in the background here. Not that we get to hear a song where they are singing, but there are other performances that I have heard where they're doing 2-3 part harmonies, maybe even 4-part harmonies. So just massively impressive from a musical standpoint. So this is it, that back in the 60s, even if you were just doing a bit of a tongue-in-cheek performance, you couldn't afford to not be good at what you did. You couldn't afford to sing off key or not be able to harmonise or play your instruments to a level of technical proficiency where the timing's spot on, and being able to do it live on TV shows but also at gigs. And this is a great example of that. And when we're having a look through, now when we're watching through, I know that the choreography is going to take your attention, but just watch the pitch that we've got going on here. Look at the control. I mean, look at this, the D sharp 3, bang on. And then here, the vibrato, that C4, bang on. And if we go through, like all the great voices, Freddie's got this controlled vibrato that's going to give you that wobble, that even, consistent wobble. And this is a C4. Just great control. So we will listen on, but just have a look at this graph, because you'll notice that the vibrato is over the lines all the time, meaning that he's nailed the pitch, but also we're going above and below the note here. So the average of the vibrato that we hear is going to be dead on pitch, and you can tell that. Let's listen on.
I'll say what you wanna hear.
I mean, even there, that wanna hear, it kind of here, it just goes up to that C sharp 4, comes down to just bang on the A sharp 3. I mean, it is so impressive considering what's going into the performance. You can hear sometimes that because of the physical exertion that his breath is slightly affected, but he's still got solid vocal technique.
I'll be staying for many a year, I'm in love with you now. Do you think I'm fooling when I say I love you? I love you. Maybe you'll believe me when I'm finally through. I'm telling you now. I know it's been said before. Say you'll love me and I will be sure. I'm in love with you now.
And he's about to go a little bit crazy. But in this song as well, it's not as if it's one of those vocal melodies and vocal performances where you can just hold on a note and vibrato all the time. He's got lines that are going all over the place, really, pitch-wise. So this is why it's even more impressive, because we've kind of got this na 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 na. You know, it's hitting pitches that vary all the time. We don't have a great deal of notes that are just being held for a long time. When we're looking at the pitch monitoring software here, look at the amount of notes we've got going on here. It's like note, slide down, change, D sharp 4, change to the E4, change, C4, change, D sharp 4, change, A sharp 3. So this is what I mean, that we're constantly on the move. So when you're trying to hit pitches, when you're hitting a pitch and it's held for a certain amount of time, it means that you don't have to be as accurate, because you can be slightly flat and then you can go up to the note because you're holding the note for a longer time. When you're jumping all over the place like this, you have to get your vocal cords to snap to these positions. That muscle memory's got to be spot on to snap to the C4, to snap to the A sharp 3, down to the G sharp 3. Because if these weren't as accurate as they are, it now wouldn't be musically credible, and it would be seen as a total joke, and it wouldn't be taken seriously, or not even taken seriously. It wouldn't be listened to, and it wouldn't have been recorded in a studio, because it just would have been totally off pitch, not catchy. The song wouldn't have been able to have been executed by the vocalist. But this is the opposite. We've got a great vocal here that's got the craziness thrown into it, but let's jump into that part of it.
I'm in love with you now. I'm telling you now.
And I mean, it's great because we have a key change, and not that you can hear it because of the instrumentation, but you can hear that his vocal has got higher. We've got the key change, and it's almost like we have that total separation of personality now back into just normal singing. Again, C sharp 4 here, bang on. Controlled vibrato, great vocal technique. But it's just after he's almost had a personality transplant, but now he's flicked back.
I'm telling you right away, I'll be saying for many a day, I'm in love with you now. Do you think I'm fooling when I say I love you? I love you.
I mean, this vocal is absolutely insane in terms of the accuracy of it, in context with this performance. I mean, since the key change, actually, Freddie's become even more accurate than he was. You know, A3 here, bang on. And we are just, I mean, I say bang on. When we're zoomed out, this looks like it's kind of all stuck to the line, but you can see these tiny variations in pitch, which is something that you don't get with especially auto-tune, but pitch correction as well. It tends to all be just stuck to a line because it's literally been dragged there. And obviously we can see in detail now that we're slightly sharp here and then slightly flat here. But we will go back to the original view. So where now this, oh, it looks like it's on the line, but we just saw that it wasn't. Let's listen on.
I love you. Maybe you'll believe me when I'm finally through.
I mean, this hasn't been edited. This is the original audio from the live performance. The reason that I'm stopping it is, I do say that great singers can hit lines, and great example here, because now we are zoomed in. And look at the accuracy here. I mean, this is absolutely insane, because we're hitting the D4, and we're actually sliding down to the B3. We slide back up to the D4, and look at how accurate these intervals are, because we've gone down 3 semitones and we've come back up 3 semitones, and we are absolutely, you can't get more accurate than this. Vocal accuracy with intervals, being able to hit 2 notes that are apart from each other and flipping from one to the next back to the original, because it is showing you where the vocal cords are snapping to, the muscle memory, how accurate they are at snapping to a very particular point. I mean, getting the vocal cords to snap this accurately, this quickly, or this regularly is absolutely crazy. Let's listen again.
Finally through.
And let's take that back so we can listen again.
Leave me when I'm finally through.
It was the finally, so that's that, the 3 semitones down, and he's come back to that so impressively. But again, I don't to get into, well, we do get into detail, but I don't want this video to go on for too long because we could just be zooming in on everything here. This isn't easy to do. And I think it's maybe something that happens with other performers when they're not as good technically at singing as Freddie is here. So the showmanship tries to cover up that fact. So it's almost like sleight of hand, or, you know, taking your attention away from the fact that, oh, we're not that good technically as a band, and I'm not that good technically as a singer, so I'm going to do more showmanship to kind of give more entertainment, because the music by itself wouldn't be entertaining enough because of the technical ability on show. So this is why I think here the technical ability is where it needs to be. It's great. But then putting in the showmanship, it almost, for me, detracts a bit from just the quality. But the great thing is about these analysis videos is that we can point it out. And I can tell you that this is, you know, a great live performance and a great live vocal. And considering all of the stuff going on, he still maintains it throughout the whole performance with key changes as well. So yes, an interesting one to take a look at tonight for so many reasons. And I'm just going to finish by saying that thinking about, you know, the 50s and the showmanship when things started, and Elvis Presley and Jerry Lee Lewis, and even before that, Little Richard, these artists had showmanship that they started to put into their performances, but it was all relevant to the performance. And I'm thinking now that maybe this was something that wasn't really understood in the USA, or at least not to the extent that people understood it or got it or accepted it in the UK, because over in the USA, with those artists that I've just named, of course, all being in the USA, that's what that audience was used to. And for example, Jerry Lee Lewis putting on a performance and having, you know, the engagement with the audience. Obviously, he was tied to the piano. He couldn't run around the stage, but it was all musically relevant. It's kind of like you could roll it all into one performance, and it doesn't detract, and it's just the exuberance of the performer, but it's all within a particular mood and feel. But with this particular performance, the mood and the feel of the performance suddenly changes to a bit of craziness, and then it goes back to what it was. So maybe it was just too much of a break or detachment from the performance as it was. It doesn't really have the relevance to, you know, the music and the vocal and everything that we've heard. It's just kind of a little bit of craziness. But anyway, as I said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Keep those requests coming for future videos. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!